Let's get it going on the Locked On Thunder live show every Monday and Thursday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time on the Locked On Thunder YouTube page, uploaded to your audio preferred platform of your choice afterward. I'm Rylan Stiles, host of Locked On Thunder. That's Derek Parker, OKC Dream Team, where you can find both of us over on Patreon. You can also find both of us at thunderonsi.com. Derek, how you doing today?
I am doing phenomenally. Another week of basketball down, another undefeated Thunder record, another week of stellar draft prospect performances. I'm living the life right now.
What a life that it is. You can check out those draft performances on Derek-Parker on YouTube, where he breaks down the entire NBA draft class. And it's going to be a fun draft class to break down all season long. Fun games tomorrow with the Jayhawkers and the Blue Devils getting together. We'll see if Darren Peterson plays or if his hamstring is too much for him to handle. We'll see what happens there. But we know what's going to happen with Oklahoma City, and that's they're going to keep dominating the league at 13-1. They have a very soft schedule this week. We're going to preview the week ahead. We're going to talk about what to watch for throughout that. We're going to talk about where we were right, where we were wrong. But Derek, let's start with our takeaways from this 3-1 start and another week of Thunder basketball.
Yeah, my top takeaway is that the Thunder, again, have the best unit in the league. It's not a surprise. I believe they had it last year with their defense. This year, so obviously it is, again, the best unit in the league. They have the top net rating by 2.4 points, ousting the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets have the second best offense and the second best defense in the league. They're really, really good. The Thunder have the fifth best offense in the league, but their defense is so head and shoulders above every single other unit that they have a decent gap on the best net rating. So, I mean, I don't need to throw the names at you. It's the Cason Wallaces, the Alex Carusos, everybody. It's a team effort. They've been unbelievable. Again, as we've talked on tons and tons of times on this here live stream, they're undermanned. They've still got Jalen Williams out. Lou Dort has missed games. AC is questionable for tonight versus the Pelicans. So the defense is driving what many people think could be one of the best teams of all time. They did it last year. It drove them all the way to the finals. So just another shout out again to the defensive minded Thunder. They have the best unit in the entire world.
Yeah, pretty handsomely the best unit as well, far and away. The Thunder's top of the league in defense. And they've done that, like you mentioned, while being shorthanded. It's been awesome to see them take on this league and take on this team's identity as a defensive unit. Because whenever you look at this, you know, if you're bored one day, or maybe you're bored right now while you're listening to this and you want to open up a new tab and continue listening in the background, go look at like the last 10 years and the number one ranked defense each year. See where they rank the following year. It's very hard to be number one in the league's defense year over year over year. The Thunder team last year had a historic defensive unit. They're on pace to do that again this season. That's just special. It's stuff that does not really happen, and it's more proof of concept of how uncommon that this team is. My number one takeaway is that SGA is putting together a great MVP case. You know, that third quarter against Charlotte was special for him. 15 points in the frame allows OKC to blow out the Charlotte Hornets. This is his seventh game scoring 30 points in under 30 minutes. That ties last year, the total of last year for him doing that 30 points in under 30 minutes, both at 7. He's only played 14 games this year though to get to that number already. And I just think that when you look at the storylines around MVP, like it's a narrative driven award. There's a lot of talking points that go into it. This team is 13-1. We're going to preview the week ahead. They do not see a loss on this schedule on paper this week. They're going to continue to flourish record-wise. Shai continues to be dominant individually, and yet the cast around him continues to change. And that's been one of like the biggest detractions to Shai's MVP case. Like if someone has argued for Jokic to win the MVP last year, then of course they're going to argue for Jokic to win MVP this year. It's kind of been like, well, Shai is doing more with more, and Jokic is doing more with less. And like Jokic's teammates aren't there, and so he's really that valuable to that team. But you're seeing that right now, as long as the Thunder have Shai, they can miss anyone, and they can still be okay. And not just okay, they can still be really, really good in a high-level team. You mentioned having the best defense. They have the best net rating. So like, even though you've taken away from him J-Dub all season long, you've seen multiple games missed of Chet Holmgren. So like in those games where Chet's missed, you've been without your second and third best player next to Shai, and yet he keeps cooking individually. This team keeps cooking, at large, and I think that really bodes well for Shai's MVP case to try to go back to back and win this award again.
Yeah, I think that if the Thunder go and again win in the high 60s in games, that's going to take care of a lot of MVP wrinkles in itself. Not to mention the fact that we would probably be seeing like MVP James Harden numbers if Shai played the fourth quarter, at least scoring wise, within like he's already at the 33 whatever points per game. If you add an entire quarter worth of play for most of the games that he's played, it would probably be somewhere in the range of 35, 36, 37 like Harden was. So again, I think winning will take care of those narratives by themselves, but the fact that he's been maybe the best early season Shai we've seen is a great thing. My second takeaway, we talked about it all offseason, the offensive leap from Chet Holmgren. He has taken it. He is averaging 19 points per game on the season. That would be his best ever. Just over the last week, he scored 25 points. One of those was on perfect shooting, 11 and then 23. He's been awesome in the mid-range. We've talked about it. His shot looks smoother, quicker on the perimeter. He's still an absolute force on the interior. Looks a little bit stronger, getting his shoulder into the bigs. And then if he has an open lane, it is an automatic bucket. I tweeted it out the other day. It feels like he's shooting 100% when he cuts down an open lane and a teammate finds him. You would like to see a little bit more consistency. If you had to nitpick 19 points per game from one of your best defenders, you would like it to be a little more spread out, maybe get 19 every game opposed to a 27 here, a 12 there. But he has still been unbelievable. He's been exactly what the Thunder need so far this season. Rarely are they losing minutes with Chet Holmgren on the floor. Again, that mid-range is going to be so important because the Nuggets are running more zone than they ever have. The Rockets lead the league in zone. And these are the teams that the Thunder are going to see in the postseason. So if Chet Holmgren can take that away with those high post jumpers and the playmaking to Isaiah Hartenstein, the high to low big stuff, they're going to be A-okay.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think that you've hit the nail on the head there. My number 2 takeaway, Cason Wallace, a lock for all defensive team. And coming into this season, there's a lot of talk around like, well, how many could the Thunder have on the list? And are these players going to split the vote and that they're going to detract from one another? Because at the end of the day, it's an individual voting on this, and it's a collective of individuals. One person can prioritize Lou or J-Dub higher than Cason, and the other person prioritizes Cason. And so everyone's kind of split the pot that way. But now you look at it, and not only is Cason leading the league in steals, not only has he had tremendous games of shutting down Steph, shutting down Luka, and opportunities to be the number 1 point of attack defender with Ludor out, but Jalen Williams is not on pace to be eligible to make this list. He's going to miss game 15 today. We'll see what the rest of the future holds. But even if he were to be back on Wednesday, he's going to only have like 2 games of a margin of error to be out before being ineligible for these awards. So it's like that takes away one guy. Alex Caruso, I mean, he has a right hand soreness injury and he's questionable. Like, it's just, there's proofs in the pudding that they're not going to push for Caruso to get individual awards because they want to protect him. They want to save him from himself, as he said last year in the finals, and ensure that he's healthy and ready to go in the playoffs. So that takes another guy off the table for potential voters. And then you look at Shai, who's going to inevitably get some votes. And then you look at Chet, like Chet missing multiple games already. Let's see what that looks like at the end of the season. I just think that the constant has been Cason, on top of having that accolade of like leading the league in steals, that he's going to be able to be eye-popping both through the eye test and through the numbers, to where Cason is just going to get one of those spots. And the Thunder could have multiple, but he's going to get one of those spots.
It's a long season, so I'm not ready to like throw anything into concrete and let it sit. But he should be getting genuine defensive player of the year, like love. I know like we're not to that point in general where we give that to anybody. But I think we take a little bit too much stock in blocks. Steals more often turn to points. Blocks can go out of bounds. They can go right to the other team. What he's doing on defense, and especially in the back-to-back versus the Warriors and Lakers, is unreal. Like, whether you go and give him DPOY love or not, that's what the core of the award is for. Is like, this is the guy who is making the absolute most defensive impact that he can be from his role. We had a question about Cason early. Is there any concern with his rim finishing? I've noticed he's missed a lot of good layups and dunks. I'm not too concerned. He's a pretty touchy player. I would not be shocked if that number rose pretty drastically, especially in the next couple of weeks. He's got long arms, good athlete. Wouldn't be too worried about that. My last takeaway, the Thunder shooting is climbing. It has gotten better in recent weeks. We knew it would with the reinsertion of Isaiah Joe. Others, they're up to 21st in the league now, which is far better than what they started out as, which was 28th, 29th. That does need to be higher, especially before the postseason. We saw it last year. Their numbers dipped in the postseason. So if they dip again from the low 20s, even lower than that, then we're not going to be looking at great numbers again in the postseason. Again, Jalen Williams will help with that. I touched on it. Houston, not going to be shy to zone. Denver, not going to be shy to zone. So the Thunder really need to get a better three-point shooting rhythm, and they'll have the opportunity to this week. We'll talk about the opponents upcoming, but they really need to find some rhythm, find some good shooting games coming up.
Yeah, and you look at Cason Wallace, and to the commenter, like, he's shooting better at the rim than he did last year. He's shooting 70% at the rim in the 69th percentile. He's only 3 percentage points off of his career high, which was 73% as a rookie in the 91st percentile. But Cason also plays into this takeaway too. Cason's up to 47% on corner threes, the highest of his career. And like, those are these gimme shots that he gets set up because of the gravity of other players. And if he can continue on this pace of shooting 47+% on corner threes, which are largely wide open, like, then this can allow for the number to keep on climbing. You've already climbed your way from the cellar to 21st. Let's see where you can go from here. But it's like Cason's involved in that. Of course, Isaiah Joe's return is involved in that. Aaron Wiggins was involved in that before he got hurt. Like, you're going to have him back at some point. J-Dub coming back will be big. Chet also from 3. So I do believe that this number will keep climbing, but it is worth monitoring moving forward for this team. But my third takeaway is about Lu Dort. It's been rough offensively for old Lu Dort. And that's before the injury, and that was on Saturday as well after the injury. For me, I'm not concerned because Lu is a very rhythm player, but he's also a very streaky player on the offensive end. You can see moments where he's shooting the ball well from the rim, and then you go look, and it's like, yeah, he's technically at a career high from the rim, but it's 56%, which is still not very good. And then you can look at his three-point shot, and some games he's 1 for 10. The next night, he's 4 for 8. And then in some games, he starts out 1 for 5 and finishes the game, in the second half, shooting 3 for 6 in the second half. So it's like, you can get so much out of Lu on a minute-to-minute basis. But to me, right now, when I watch Lu play, and you go back and you watch that Charlotte game with a kind of fresh eyes and not being so like trying to figure out what's happening in the moment, you can really dissect it. In that Charlotte game, it just felt like he was overthinking things. He wasn't decisive enough. He wasn't making the proper reads. He was kind of out of whack. And that's to be expected for a guy who missed 5 games. Like, he just didn't know exactly how to fit himself into this offense. That will come around for him. So I know that it's been not so good for Lu, and I know it's been a big worry of like, oh, has everyone on this roster on the guard and wing category, have they passed him by? Like, should he still be a starter? Has he lost his touch offensively? I think it's far too early to talk about that with Lu. Now, there could get to a point where like that becomes a talking point. But for me right now, you just got to give him time to work back into his rhythm.
Yeah, the numbers right now are just not sustainable. This is not sustainable over an 82-game sample. 31% from the floor, 21% from 3. This is a guy who has worked himself into a 40% free throw or three-point shooter on major volume, nearly 6 attempts per game for the last 2 seasons. He's not going to shoot 21% from 3 for a full season. It's just not going to happen. Could he see a slight lull, and could he see his numbers go down a little bit to the point that the Thunder maybe need to supplement a little more offense at times, maybe AJ Mitchell in certain situations? Sure, but the things that are happening right now are simply not going to continue at the rate that they are. Things are going to get better, move forward, as you touched on. He missed 5 games. There's room for error in the next 5 games. Like, he's going to be working his way back from that for a while. So not worried at all about Lu Dort. As you touched on, he's been streaky before. It seems we're just in a lull, and this is one of them.
Let's go into where we were right and where we were wrong. Derek,
my favorite and least favorite section.
It's a great section. I love doing this to fact check ourselves. We were both right about calling the Hornets game our nerdy watch, because it was like, even the Hornet. This is why I think that we were right. Stay with me here. The Hornets were on the second night of a back-to-back that went into overtime that involved travel, and yet they grew a 6-point lead, and they really keep the Thunder at an arm's length for the first half, and they hung in that game. They were shooting lights out from 3, and they battled through injury. They didn't have LaMelo Ball. They didn't have Brandon Miller. They didn't have Josh Green, Grant Williams. So they didn't have a lot of their guys, which of course Green and Williams have never played for them. It feels like, but still they didn't have a lot of their guys, and they were on a rest disadvantage, and they were playing the best team in the league, and they were still a fun little basketball team. And this is kind of an indictment also on the Lakers and Warriors, that like the Lakers and Warriors games are just so brutal from start to finish. The Thunder just brutalized them for 48 minutes, that at least the Hornets put up a little bit of a fight. So I'd consider us right on the nerdy watch of your Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, I agree. And we didn't even get to see Con Knipple at his best. He went for 32 points, career high, in an overtime close loss versus the Bucks the night before. You could envision the Thunder defense being a little bit different than Milwaukee, especially out there at the point of attack. You got Cason Wallace and Dort on you instead of Ryan Rollins. But yeah, they're a fun team, man.
They're a fun little team. Derek, you were right whenever you called this team going 3-0. And I just want to say how impressive that is. That like you could throw out 3-0 when they were facing a back-to-back with the Warriors and Lakers. That would have been 3 games in 4 nights by the time you got to the Lakers game. That was a very condensed part of their schedule, as we talked about all last week. And yet they go 3-0.
Yeah, it gets easier and easier the more you watch this team to bet on the fact that they're just going to win their ball games. Now, it would have been an absolute Mickey Mantle call your shot if I had said they're going to go win by 40 points combined. But yeah, they're just an absolute buzzsaw. Any team that runs into them is going to get a decent shot, whether they're playing well or not. So
foul.
That's a Babe
Ruth. Whatever.
Yeah.
They're all Yankees. I deserve the T.
Literally, and some of them figuratively. Derek, where we were wrong, I called 2-1, which, I mean, it's crazy that 2-1 is just like, oh, how dare you call 2-1 and think that they'd lose a back-to-back to the Lakers, who are presumably a contender in the West. I was wrong on that. We were both wrong on our matchup to watch. We both had Shai versus one of the stars, Shai versus Luka, Shai versus Steph. The reason why I think that we were wrong on that is I think that actually the biggest matchup to watch was Cason versus those two guys. And like watching, like Cason stood out more, just his defense on both those guys. And he kind of stole that headline away from us.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think 100%, as we've already touched on, Cason was like on superstar watch that night in terms of his defensive impact. I do want to say though, I feel like I need a half grade here because I did say Shai, Luka MVP stuff. And I do feel like Shai did somewhat tip the scales in terms of national attention for his MVP case because he did look better than Luka. And that's not to say that Luka shouldn't have been playing well. I mean, he was guarded by Cason Wallace, as we've touched on, but I did feel like Shai gained a little bit more national acclaim in terms of the season that he's having relative to the Jokic's, the Lukas, and the Wembys of the world.
Yeah, you for sure get a half point there. You get a full point for this one. You called the storyline at the end of the week being that the win record was in sight for this team and a lot of talk around 70-plus wins. You are 100% right, and there's proof in the pudding of like every national podcast is talking about like if the Thunder should or shouldn't go for 70-plus wins. We're talking about it on our shows. Like this is a storyline around this team after their 13-1 start.
Yeah, and again, I said it then, I'll say it now. That wasn't to say that's what we should be talking about because one, I don't think the Thunder care at all, nor are they going to push for that on purpose. Like they're not going to play Alex Caruso tonight if his hand is hurting because they want to go win a game to get to 74. It's not going to happen, but you can just kind of sense the way these narratives start to snowball, and it really did feel like that. And it's going to feel the same way after next week. It's not going to be my prediction, but if they go and take care of business against a bunch of teams that they are better than this week, they're going to be sitting at a potential 16-1, and those conversations are only going to continue. And as the season continues, it's only going to ramp up. So if you're a Thunder fan and you're tired of hearing about it already, buckle in because it's not going anywhere.
Strap in. I was right about AJ Mitchell. I preseason called him a top 8 player in this rotation. He's second in 6 man of the year odds behind only Jaime Jaquez. And he's been everything and more that you could dream of it for AJ Mitchell with this team. But I was wrong on my Washington Wizards. What a, it's just been tough. It's just been tough. And I still have hope. I still have hope that like perhaps what they're doing here is, this is my spin zone. Perhaps what they're doing is they're just purposefully losing all these games up front. That way on the back end of the schedule, they can comfortably play and comfortably try to win without it endangering their draft pick, which they do have like a top 8 protected pick, owed to New York. So like get them out of range to be a team where that pick becomes in jeopardy, and then you can start letting these young guys really play. The CJ McCollum stuff has been infuriating. It's not been good for my Wizards. I was wrong on my Wizards wholeheartedly.
The tough thing is we're already seeing reports of like a player meeting and stuff. Like these are young guys. They shouldn't need stuff like this to like amp themselves up. And we've talked about this at length. This is not a shot at you, but I really did just feel like their roster wasn't great. So for them to already be feeling like kind of down on themselves in terms of that is not a great sign to me, because as we've talked about, I like the Wizards roster more than some of these other like repositioning, rebuilding teams. I think they have legit pieces. They just need to put things together and figure it out. And I think they can. I think that they go get one more kind of star-studded draft pick, I think they'll be in a pretty good spot. So I would urge them and Wizards fans to just kind of weather the storm, because I think their roster's fine. It was never going to be their year. So the fact that there may be a few less wins behind than they want to be is not like cause for major concern for me. It obviously is for their fans, the organization, the team.
And I would just say, I really wonder about Coach Keefe now. I mean, I know he's a OKC ties guy, much like the entire Wizards team is, but he could not coach his way out of a paper bag right now. It is like he's not putting his team in a great position. He's not executing, what he needs to be doing late in games. And I wonder, is that him individually? Is that from on down high? Like, we need to make sure we're losing these games. I don't know. I find it hard to believe he's this bad, though. I think that maybe there's some external factors at play here, because it's been a coaching malpractice in Washington with what they're doing late in games. But I was wrong on Washington. They're not a fun, scrappy team like I thought that they would be. They're a boring, bad team that the young players have not gotten to play a ton, and the ones that do are like Koulibaly is taking a massive step back. He's just terrible. And so yeah, it's just not very good for Washington. But we have another week to try to be wrong, Derek. Our weekly superlatives. Here's the matchups this week: Pelicans, Kings, Jazz, Blazers. Best game of the week seems pretty obvious, Derek. Who is it?
It is the Utah Jazz. No, it's the Portland Trailblazers. They're the only team to have beaten the Thunder so far this year. These other teams probably have 7 wins combined. The Portland Trailblazers are scrappy. They've already beaten the best team in the league. The Thunder are obviously going to be chomping at the bit to get that rematch. So it's going to go to Portland pretty handedly.
Yeah, Portland, the revenge factor, the fact that they're the best team, the fact that both of these teams are going to be coming at it from a different angle, even though that Portland beat OKC in that second night of a back-to-back, and we all know what happened there. Like, it was a 10 p.m. tip heading into another late tip. They had to travel from LA to Portland to play that game. Like, even though all that is true, and that the Blazers did win that game, it's not been good for Portland ever since that contest. Like, they've lost 4 out of the last 5 games, including a 20-point beat down in that mix, including a loss in overtime to Dallas. Like, it's not been good. And so this week, they're going to really want to try to gain their confidence back and gain their momentum back. And then now they get another litmus test with OKC, with OKC having the home court advantage, having better rest, etc.
Are we moving on to boring game?
We're moving on to a boring game.
You've got one different than me. I want to hear your reasoning here, because this is interesting.
Yeah, I'm just not into the Pelicans. And it's like, I'll beat up on the Kings as much as possible because I just hate the Kings, but
not as much as possible, apparently.
Yeah, it's just like, it's like Jeremiah Fears is fun. Derek Queen in the starting lineup is fun. Zion's questionable. I will say this. Zion's questionable. If Zion plays, it would swing my pendulum back to the Kings. But I'm just not a believer in the James Borrego interim coach situation. Like, I just don't believe that they're going to really put up a fight. Like, here's my pitch for why I didn't put the Kings, honestly. The Pelicans are going to quit tonight. Like, the Pelicans are going to get curb stomped tonight. They're not going to put up a fight, and this game will be over at tip-off. What
makes you think the Kings are not going to do the same thing?
I'm getting there. Hold your horses. With the Kings, it's hard to beat any team in blowout fashion 3 times in a month. And the Kings have a lot of veterans. They have a lot of guys with pride. And I think that they could be like, you know what, guys? Let's pick each other up by our bootstraps and let's go compete tonight. Now, they're still going to lose, and they're still going to lose, by a wide margin. But I think that to compete I think that
What are we talking about?
I think that the compete mindset for Sacramento will be larger than that of a young Pelicans team that just doesn't care anymore.
I guess I could not care less about this Kings team if I wanted to. The only thing that gives me solace in Sacramento right now is the fact that they do seem finally, after like a decade, ready to reposition themselves toward the draft. They seem like they're going to start offloading these pieces. There's been some Sabonis rumors. Levine maybe has some suitors. Keon Ellis is a guy we talked about that people might want. So the only reason I'm watching the Kings is to evaluate these guys for their next team, because the one right now just doesn't interest me. They could go win the basketball game. It still wouldn't interest me because in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. If the Pelicans, with a scrappy Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen, these youngsters go and win a game, that's something if they can pull that out of their hat and go beat this Thunder team. The Kings, these guys are not going to be together in a matter of months. So it just, I'm out on Sacramento. I'm tired of it.
Yeah, my biggest storyline for a game is the Blazers. It all centers around the Blazers. It's the rematch. It's the revenge matchup. Because here's the thing. I couldn't feel more confident that they are going to go 3-0 before that Blazers game. And so that puts them at 14, 15, 16-1. At the end of this game, if the Thunder blow out the Blazers and they're 17-1, the storyline is like, well, the only team that beat them now also has a lopsided loss against OKC. This team is just unbelievable. We're talking win record. We're talking best team of all time. We're talking all this other stuff. If the Blazers somehow win that game, then it's like, do the Thunder have a Blazers problem? Are the Thunder not as untouchable as we once thought? And if it falls anywhere in between that spectrum, it's just kind of like a blip on the radar, much like the Pelicans and Kings and the Jazz are not going to make an impact on the radar. So the Blazers game is the one that has the most opportunity of either a Thunder massive win or any Blazers win creates a huge storyline. None of these other games can do that.
I agree. That would have absolutely been my top storyline as well. But just for the sake of podcasting being better, I did go with potential Jalen Williams return. I want to preface this with this is not like any sort of insider info. There's absolutely nothing been released on this, but just, I mean, thinking things through, it seems like he will be making a return probably at home. We are past the reevaluation deadline on his follow-up surgery. Again, not saying that he's going to come back, but we are kind of in that period where maybe start keeping an eye. He's already had the Instagram posts where it's like, talk soon, he'll be back soon. Like, so I would just say to maybe keep an eye on upcoming home games. We could be seeing that here maybe in the next couple weeks.
I agree. I mean, keep an eye on it. We'll see where the reevaluation and the updates come. He's not going to play tonight against the Pelicans. They have the off day tomorrow. So probably tomorrow around 5:30, 6 o'clock, you're going to see the injury report for Wednesday's game, and we'll see if J-Dub is on it or not. The nerdy basketball watch of the week, it's the Jazz to me. I mean, it's the NBA Cup game. It's Keontae George, it's Laurie, it's Ace Bailey. Like, it's the Jazz for me that like really get me going this week.
I like the Jazz. I mean, they have a lot of guys that I liked at a draft level, Keontae George being one. I thought the Ace Bailey pick was pretty good relative to where they were picking. He's been really good in the starting lineup lately. Really curious to see how both of those guys handle the Thunder. Laurie's had an unreal season so far. He's again raising it to the point where they're not going to be able to trade him because they already overvalue their guys and teams don't want to get fleeced by the Jazz front office. In contrast with yours, my nerdy basketball watch is the Pelicans. Jeremiah Fears has been unbelievable. He had 8 steals the other night. He's an offensive-minded player. He had 8 steals. With Willie Green out, Derek Queen should hopefully be able to shine now. And then they've got some other players. Zion, as you touched on, questionable. Trey Murphy's really good. Herb Jones. So I like watching the Pelicans. I know they're not a good basketball team, but they've got enough pieces that it piques my draft interest in the least.
Most interesting player. Mine is Lauri Markkanen. Like, you watch what he did against the Bulls in overtime last night. He's a fun player. He's a former All-Star. He's a unique matchup of just like, you want to put Chet on him? Do you want to put iHeart on him? Like, where do you want to play? How do you want to play him if you're OKC? This has been a Jazz team that, like, if you come in there thinking that you're just going to waltz your way to a win, you're mistaken. Like, they're going to punch you in the mouth. So it's like this team has to be ready to go in Utah on Friday. I'm interested to see what Lauri Markkanen can do against this team.
I agree. We touched on, I mean, Lauri's been completely awesome. I have Denny Avdia just for the reasons that you touched on of he's a guy who really, really had success against OKC last time. Did not shoot well from the floor, but got downhill, really, really well, shot a ton of free throws, hit some really clutch buckets that ended up giving the Trailblazers the win over the Thunder. Kevin Durant a few days ago said he is playing at an all-star level right now. It's somewhere in the range of 25 points on pretty efficient shooting. So I'm curious to see if this happens again versus a really good Thunder defense, if they don't have the pieces that can shut Deni Avdija down, or if they can have more success this time and in turn potentially go win the ball game. So I'm looking at that Deni Avdija matchup. Is he an all-star level guy, or is he a guy that just had kind of a lucky night against one of the best defenses of all time?
Let's do record prediction and storyline to end the week. Record prediction for me, 4-0. I think that at the end of the week, we're going to be talking about, is this team the best team of all time?
You just stole mine from last week. What a guy!
Yeah,
just absolutely.
You're right about those two things. And so I was like, you know what? How can I get some extra points here? I could just do this.
I agree. I think 4-0 probably for the same reasons as you. The first three are not as good. Portland is really scrappy, but also not as good. And it's the revenge factor of the Thunder probably want to beat the only team to beat them, make a statement there. My storyline is that Clippers pick, because I think LA could go 1-3 this week. They have some interesting matchups. They only have 4 wins on the season right now. They just lost another one to Boston last night. They would be sitting at somewhere in the range of like 5 wins, double-digit losses. And that coupled with the fact that the Thunder are going to have this potentially like 16-2, 17-1 record, as well as LA being 5 wins. We've already seen some stuff like the Bill Simmons tweet about the crisis that is the Clippers pick, but I think it's going to be amplified even more next week whenever both of these things widen, where the Thunder get more wins, the Clippers pick up even more losses.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you wholeheartedly, but I do want to have a meeting in Secaucus about this. Coach David says, I know this may sound crazy, but dark horse for MVP is Russell Westbrook. Derek, we cannot let these coaches continue to get away with this. This like, well, I'm going to say something absolutely, utterly insane, but since I said it might be crazy, you can't team me up. No, you got to get attack here.
This is attack.
This is attack.
That's a tactical foul.
Coach David, one of the few coaches to get attack. I'm not going to double team up because he had the crutch of like, it may sound crazy, but
he did give clarification.
What are we talking about? Like what on earth are we talking about?
We're getting some agreements in the chat. This just can't slide. Like, David, we love you. Russ is having a better season. I think he's a fun fit on the Kings. They're finally starting him moving forward. He's putting up some decent stats, 14, 6, and 6. But MVP, we cannot let that slide. Shai is doing this in third quarters alone. It can't slide. It can't happen.
It can't. That's just utterly insane. Coming up, let's talk about some NBA storylines. Let's talk about where this team goes from here. Even Coach David agrees that he deserved a technical foul on that.
Us.
So I think that he was just testing our trigger on that. Of just like, what can you get away with? It's like, it's like whenever a coach wants to see what the line is for each individual group.
Yeah.
Like, what can I really do?
You found it. You blew past it.
You blew past the line. On your bench, sir. No more outrageous takes. Let's talk NBA storylines, Derek. First up on the list, my 76ers are getting Paul George back. Is this a big deal, Derek?
I really don't know how to feel, because obviously Paul George did not see a phenomenal season last year. He's coming off injury. He's aged already, but there's a part of my basketball loving heart that also feels like Paul George could get to some semblance of what he was. And I think that would really help the Philadelphia 76ers. I just love watching Paul George. I guess all this to say, the optimism in me is really hoping that he can get back to somewhere in the range of like 20 points on efficient shooting. So I don't know. I hope so.
I do too. I also hope that it will be big. I'm not going to say it's going to be massive or it's even going to really move the needle, but I hope it does. I hope it does for my Sixers. Breaking news. Alex Caruso upgraded to available against the New Orleans Pelicans. SGA nominated for Player of the Week. Jokic won the award. Now, let's move on to our next NBA storyline. That was just my Sixers corner. I love my Sixers. I think that they're going to be a good little ball club this year. I think that they have been a good little ball club. John Morant, speaking of injury news, out for 2 more weeks. Are the Grizzlies cooked?
I mean, yes, like 100% yes. And you victory lapped me mere weeks ago saying that they wouldn't be one of the worst teams in the West.
I think I did that after night 1. Night 1, a comeback over the Pelicans.
I bet you could watch last week's live and I was catching strays about the Grizz. Maybe not last week. Last week was in the midst of the Jaw stuff. But oh, yeah, they're cooked. But the good thing is, I will say, the Memphis Grizzlies are one of the best drafting teams ever. Like in the 21st century, they are nearly unmatched, aside from obviously the Oklahoma City Thunder, especially relative to where they're usually picking, which is the middle of the NBA. They have just done unbelievably, getting several of your guys, Jalen Wells, Cedric Coward. They're so good at it. So the Grizzlies' current iteration, cooked. Grizzlies front office, in my mind, really good. Or at least like, yeah, the scouting side, really, really good. So it's not all doom and gloom here.
So just to put like another layer of just like, what does cooked mean? Because of this injury on top of the other ones like Zach Edey, etc. And it's going to be 2 weeks without Ja for an already hapless team that is not in the play-in tournament right now and sits, in fact, at 4-10, tied with the Dallas Mavericks. Like, for as much crap as the Dallas Mavericks are getting, rightfully so, the Grizzlies are 4-10, right? And the Clippers are only 4-9, by the way. Do you think that Memphis is cooked in the sense of they're not going to make the play-in? Like, you just don't believe they're going to make it. If you let's put it another way, to not talk in such definitive terms. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like you think it's a lock, it's not going to happen. How confident are you that the Grizzlies missed the play-in tournament?
I'm at an 8. I just don't see, even if things start to mesh phenomenally, I just don't see a world where this front office looks at this team and says, we should push for the postseason. And that was the whole reason I ranked them lower earlier, is that they've got some really, really good pieces, some really fun pieces. Coward has been an absolute revelation. Jalen Wells is awesome. I think Zach Edey can play some decent basketball. You've got a couple of stars, but you just can't look at this team and think in 2 to 3 years that this is a team that is going to make waves in the West and make the Western Conference Finals and mesh to that degree. So I just think they're going to make moves. They already traded away Desmond Bane. I don't know how people thought that this team was going to be like even at least what they were last year, which was not great without Desmond Bane. I think they're going to continue to reposition themselves, and I think that they should because, again, they have a good scouting front office. Their star player obviously is not conducive to winning right now. Jaren Jackson Jr. could net you some good value. Go do it. Like, this is one of the best draft classes we've seen in a long time. You're a good drafting team. Go get you a star and do a quick little rebuild with some of the guys that you already have and others. So long-winded way of saying no, I don't think they'll make the play-in, not only because they don't have the talent to, but because I think they will reposition themselves for the draft as they should.
So I'm with you. I think it's an 8 or a 9, and I think it's getting late early for the old Memphis Grizzlies. I'm not ready to put it at a 10 yet because crazier things have happened, but man, it's not good for the Memphis Grizzlies. It is good for the Motor City Crew, the Detroit Pistons, sitting at top of the East at 11-2, 2.5 games up on the usual suspects of Cleveland, of New York, of Atlanta, of Orlando. Is this going to hold throughout the year, Derek, that Detroit will be the team who just runs away with this Eastern Conference and is racking up wins and is like the number 1 seed in the East?
Yeah, last week we said this is a good team. They're capable of a top 3 seed. We don't think number 1 is going to hold. I believe we both were like, they're awesome. We believe in them, but like number 1 is pretty rich. Fast forward a week, and they've won 2 games with Danish Jenkins as the point guard. Paul Reed is scoring 28 points and grabbing 11 boards per game. They're 11-2. Their point differential, which was one of the main reasons I was kind of iffy, has now blossomed to better than every single other team save for the Knicks in the East. It's certainly possible. Have they won 9 games straight? 9-1 in their last 10, 9 straight wins.
Yeah.
Absolutely possible they can keep the top seed. The reason I thought they could keep a top 3 seed is because of the fresh legs. They're a young team. They're fiery. They're hungry to win in the East. They haven't in so long. This is a team that several of these guys 2 years ago were part of, like one of the longest losing streaks ever. I think they're hungry. I think they can absolutely go win a bunch of regular season games. Now, am I going to pick them over the Knicks in the postseason? No. Are they a really, really fun regular team that is getting better at basketball that we can insert into that top tier potentially for the future? I think so.
Yeah, so I'm with you. I mean, it's a breakneck pace to go from like I'm still in on my Cavs versus like now it's the Pistons who are going to be the 1 seed. But what's changed is that like the Pistons have done it while being shorthanded.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think that with the Pistons' ability to be, resilient without their guys and the weaker conference and the fact that they've given themselves some cushion, I'm kind of in on this Pistons team being the 1 seed. I could see a world in which like Cleveland, for example, like they could obviously get more than back into this and like get more than into it in the sense of reclaiming their right to the number 1 seed in the East. But if you're sitting there post All-Star break, and this is a team that feels like it's a make or break type of postseason run coming up, and this is a team that feels like they need to be healthy for the first time in the playoffs, do you really care, honestly, about gunning for that 1 seed versus being a home court advantage team and just moving on with your life? I don't think that they're going to. So it's like that changes the things. I'm not as in on New York as I used to be. That changes some things. And so I do think that Detroit will hold on to this number 1 spot in the East. But speaking of changing your mind, as we did on the Pistons, has anyone changed your mind in either conference about the Thunder having more than one threat?
The Nuggets being really, really, really good at defense has raised them in my bar. We have been pretty complimentary of the Nuggets here so far. Even last week, we were like, they're a threat, and Cam Johnson's not even playing that well. Now the fact that they're one of the best defensive teams in the league has raised their bar. I always thought they were, a threat to OKC. It's not like we were sitting here saying no one's going to touch them, but they have gotten better in my mind. The Rockets, too, have now won a lot of games. I don't want to say that they're necessarily like a threat to dethrone OKC in the regular or the postseason, but they are an absolute handful. And I think that's showcased by the fact that they took the Thunder to double OT on night 1. Now, again, no Jalen Williams, a few other people out, but the Rockets are legit. They have potentially the best duo in the NBA just in terms of like the way that those two guys mesh, Alperen Şengün and Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is what he is. Everybody knows it. One of the greatest jump shooters, players of all time. He meshes really well with Şengün in the fact that they've got this 2-man game. They can both ISO. They can play off one another. They're both really good passers. So again, I don't want to say that they're some like existential threat to the Thunder's success, but they're an up and coming team. And if they had Fred VanVleet, I was pretty complimentary of them early. I think they'd be one of, if not the second best team in the NBA. So they've been impressive to me.
Yeah, I would say that for now, it's still just Denver. However, Houston is knocking on the door. And if they can figure out the point guard situation, they're going to be busting in that door of being at the table of contenders, because I know that Reed Shepherd's played better recently. I think that matchups make fights, styles makes fights. Like, he just cannot play against OKC, no matter how good he does against the rest of the league. It's just not a matchup that's going to be favorable for him, for Houston, for anyone involved. And so if they can find a table setter, if they can find a point guard at the deadline with some of the assets that they do have, now it's going to be difficult because of the salary restrictions and everything else, but if they can find a capable point guard, then all of a sudden I look at Houston as a team who can present matchup problems for Oklahoma City, who can present with their defense, with their double big lineups, with Kevin Durant and Şengün. Like, they can keep a series extended and they can win games close against OKC, and then they can compete with OKC. And I'd look at it and say, well, whoever of Denver, Houston, OKC gets out of the West, they're going to win the championship. And I think that that's clearly where I'm still at with this league and with this season. But for now, it's still just Denver. But keep an eye on those Houston Rockets down there in Texas. Derek, what's your next one?
My next one is that I think we're finally nearly a month into the point where we can kind of see these standings materializing. Like, over the last few weeks, there were a lot of changes and curveballs and mix-ups. I think finally you can look at the NBA standings and kind of start to get a picture, at least up top and down low, of where teams could be by the end of the season, as showcased by the Thunder 1, the Nuggets 2, the Rockets 3. I think in the preseason, a lot of people would have picked that exact order. In the East, the Pistons are an outlier, but you also have the Knicks and the Cavs up there. A lot of people, you included, had the Hawks at number 4. They're back, even without Trae Young. Raptors 5, Sixers 6, Bucks, Heat, Magic. Magic have been underwhelming, but other than that, a lot of people would have picked a lot of those teams. So again, not to say that there isn't a whole lot of basketball left and that these teams still can't get better or worse, but I think we're finally starting to see some of the materialization of this NBA standings.
Yeah, I think that we're starting to see some normalcy return to the fold for sure in the NBA. But I want to let you cook on your next topic, the NBA rookies.
Yeah, this rookie class has been unbelievable. Consensus opinion on the 25 draft cooled a little bit late. Everyone thought it was a really, really good class. And then as we got closer to the draft, everyone was like, well, it's good, but it's not quite as good as we thought. Just small pat on my own back. I really, really thought this was like an awesome, awesome class. And I never shied away from that. There's a lot of YouTube videos out there of me saying exactly that. And now I think we're seeing the returns of that in Cooper Flagg has maybe been slower than people thought, but really, really good start for an 18-year-old. Con Knipple leading all rookies in scores. He's been an absolute revelation for the Hornets. We touched on Cedric Coward. Just absolute two-way unit. Again, a guy who went from like Division II basketball to playing in the NBA in a matter of years and now averaging 14 points per game in his first stretch. Ace Bailey has seen solid minutes here lately. VJ Edgecombe was awesome to start. Maybe cooling off a little bit, but you can continue to go down the list. Will Richard in Golden State. Just all kinds of players are seeing success. And I just think the 2025 class was so good. Really happy a lot of these guys are getting shine. Trey Johnson in Washington, averaging double figures, not even quite what we expected of him, and he's still been good. So NBA rookies, shout out to you because you've been so good.
The teams that are tanking that you have here, the Nets, Pacers, Wizards, Pelicans. What's crazy about this is that, you haven't mentioned the Jazz because the Jazz are sneakily, Derek, putting themselves in a terrible position. Okay, so let's look at first. Let's look at the pick odds. Let's look at the overall pick odds. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 have no chance of that pick conveying to OKC if you were in those spots, because even at pick 5, the chances of it going to 9 are 0.6. Like, for all intents and purposes, there's no chance. So the top 5, if the Jazz can get there, they would be in no jeopardy of handing that pick to OKC. The Jazz pick has to fall at 9 or later than that to go to OKC. The problem is, though, once you get to 6, that jumps up to 4.2% chance of losing your pick to OKC. At 7, you have a 12% chance to give it to OKC at 8. At 9, and then a 1.3% chance at 10. And then at 8, even if you got to the 8, which you would control your pick heading into the lottery night, you have a 34% chance of giving it to the Thunder at pick 9, not to mention the 7.5% chance of giving it to the Thunder at pick 10. Why do I illustrate all of this? It's because they clearly need to get to the top 5 to feel very comfortable about this selection. You look at the standings, though. Washington's a 1-win team, 1-12. Indiana, 1-12. New Orleans, 2-11. Brooklyn, 2-11. Sacramento, 3-11. Memphis, 4-10. Dallas, 4-10. Charlotte, 4-9. So it's like you have some ground to make up already when it comes to the win column, when it comes to the loss column, if you're the Charlotte Hornets. And if you remain scrappy, even for just this first start to the season, even if it's just until the NBA Cup's over, you can quickly bury yourself to the point where you no longer can get to that comfortable range. You're going to be at the very best, just still nervous heading into lottery day.
You hit the nail on the head with the fact that they've dug themselves a hole already. This was the worst team record-wise in the league last year. They still have all the weapons, for lack of a better word, to go and be that exact team this year. But they've just been too good, and it's their own fault because they didn't offload Markkanen earlier. He's been awesome, but who cares, in terms of the Jazz's future? He's not a long-term part of it, really. And if you look at these teams that you talked about, save for maybe the Clippers, who we both, I think, can win more games than they have already, as bad as that would be for the Thunder's draft odds, the rest of these teams can absolutely out-tank the Jazz with a decent lead. The Hornets, the Mavericks are going to offload pieces. The Grizzlies are not good. The Kings are going to offload pieces. And then the rest of these teams are already you could potentially lock them in for being worse than the Jazz already. Brooklyn, New Orleans, Indiana, Washington. So they're in a hole. If it held right now, we think the Clippers are going to be better eventually. But if this held, the Jazz only have a little bit above a 10% chance at keeping their own pick. And that's absurd in this draft, talking about this Jazz team with this Thunder team. It's
over
crazy.
A Derek Favors trade. Like a Derek Favors salary dump is what ended up getting the Thunder this pick. What a generational run that's Sam Presti is on in the front office. Derek, I want to give you the floor first. Well, no, actually, you get the floor second. Your technical foul is unbelievable. I don't even know what it is, frankly. My technical foul, real quick. The Cooper Flag haters.
That's a technical foul.
First couple of games of the season, everybody's like, "Oh, is this the generational talent that you all hyped up? Oh, is this supposed to be the next LeBron? Is this supposed to be?" Guys, you idiots, have you watched basketball in your life? Probably not. He's playing point guard for no reason. Since November 5th, whenever he stopped playing point guard, he's been top of the class in a lot of these averages, and he's been an awesome player, and he's put together a nice stretch of basketball. He's also 18 years old, folks. 18 years old in the NBA. That's crazy. On top of the circus that's been the Dallas Mavericks, he's seen the chance about firing Nico during his games while he's at the free throw line. He's seen his GM get fired. He's seen the controversy and drama externally. He's seen the injuries to AD. Of course, Kyrie's been out for the season. It's just been a mess for him, and yet he's still figured it out on top of having to learn the NBA style. And he's figured it out, and he's been able to be a better player since those first few games. So the Cooper Flag hate, of course, was always way overrated, way not warranted. And so you get a technical foul for that.
That's a technical foul.
I don't know what people are seeing with Cooper Flag that's made them any less high than when he was drafted number one, than when he was highly lauded as the number one pick, took Duke to the Final Four at 17 years old. He's been awesome. What are people not seeing with this literal kid who's still averaging 15, 8, and 4 in a good basketball league without a point guard? He's been awesome. He's going to be fine. I have no idea what people are seeing. My technical foul. Oh,
yeah.
baby.
I don't know what this is going to be. I need to brace myself. Go ahead.
My technical foul goes to Rylan Stiles.
That's a technical foul.
I'm out on Brent Venables. He's not the guy. He's never going to be the guy. He's terrible. He's a nice little rah-rah guy. His defense is pretty good. That's awesome. It doesn't win games. He doesn't have it in him. He doesn't have the ability to be a positive coach. They might rip off 9-3. That would be a miracle. Rylan, you deserve this tech.
That's a technical foul.
The Oklahoma Sooners waltzed into your Tennessee Volunteer Stadium and got a win. But even more than that, 2 weeks later, bye week, they waltz into Tuscaloosa and take down the number 4 ranked Crimson Tide. Brent Venables is riding high. I'm not saying they're going to be world beaters. I'm not even saying they're going to make the playoffs, but you deserve the T for those harsh words on BV.
Yeah, I did deserve the T. I will admit that. I'm not going to try to get this rescinded from the league office. I will say 9-3 still on the table here. Let's not act as though Brent Venables has never dropped the game he shouldn't, playing Missouri and playing LSU. But
I agree. But you also said miracle, and it seems like at worst it's going to happen now. So
yeah, he somehow owns Alabama. He somehow owns Tennessee. Well, he's 1-1 against Tennessee. Let's just be very clear. Lost at home against Tennessee and Nico Imalamalava. But yeah, I deserve it. I mean, I just have no rebuttal. I deserve it.
And again, I'm not saying they're going to be world beaters. All the issues you had with them could very well still be a thing, but we got to give him his credit because that was a heck of a win, genuinely. To go into Tuscaloosa, homecoming, big win.
I'm so glad that so in our notes on technical foul, Derek only put my name. He didn't put any explanation. And I was like, all day I've been thinking, what is the T going to be? What did I do? It could have been a myriad of things, frankly. I mean, it could have been my Wizards. It could have been anything. And I'm glad that it was Brent Venables.
Hey, I've got one more thing. I want the chats weigh in here. Rylan's got his Christmas lights up. Okay, I don't think I'm to a technical foul point, but I do want to ask, is it not too early for this? Because listen, I've got the capability here to turn this into Christmas, and we could be Christmas themed, but if the chat's gonna just get on us for doing it during Thanksgiving time, then
yeah, there's no Thanksgiving lights. Frankly, there's no Thanksgiving decor hardly that you could put out there. Thank you, Coach David. I'm going to rescind your technical foul whenever he says not at all.
Oh,
I'm not gonna.
it's 2-1 though. Way too early.
3-1
Far
now.
too
That's
early. And
I
now
will
2-2.
say,
Do
I will
it.
say there was one earlier that we didn't get to talk about that said I was spreading Christmas cheer. I think it was Coach Dennis. There it is, right there. Boom. So before you even bring it up, he's right there.
It
Whoa,
seems like
Coach Dennis, you get a technical foul for contradiction. Look, earlier this pod, he goes, Ryland with holiday cheer. Derek comes in here with a swinging mustache and goes, should we tee up Ryland Styles for his holiday cheer? And then all of a sudden, Dennis the Menace over here is going to flip the script and say, do it, Derek. Tee him up, Derek. Team up, Derek. Like, no.
Wait, this could be, he could be saying, do it, Derek, as in change my lights to Christmas, I think.
That's good. That's fair. My bad, Dennis. I'm really riding.
Dude, you're jumping the gun here.
You know what? They are playing Christmas music now.
I think I'm going to pull the trigger here because I think people hate too much. There's too much negativity in the world to walk around being like, oh, it's too early. Not saying that to anybody that said it, but there's some people that are genuinely mean-spirited about it. So
there we go.
It's done. Happy holidays, folks.
So incredible. That's so incredible. Listen, Christmas is there's a finite amount of Christmases we have in this life. There's also a finite amount of time to celebrate Christmas. And it brings everyone joy to see Christmas lights, to see decorations, to see the holiday spirit. And why bottle that into a 3-week period when you can just start now? Like, what you want me to put a turkey back there, Derek? You want me to put a pilgrim back there? Like, what do you want me to do? It's just something to add to the ambiance of the show. I also you can't see it because of the way that we are positioned right now because of the quad box system. I'm gonna catch stuff on fire here. I had a candle back there. Also have a Christmas bear back there.
Oh, and he's Thunder themed.
Yeah, it's they handed out these like Thunder finals medals at the door one time, and so
I didn't get that.
I have it on there. Well, you don't get to the games early enough, frankly. But it was honestly, I don't think that I should have gotten them either. But it was like an employee giveaway that they just gave to the employees, and they just gave me one as well. But I'll take it. It's a nice little Thunder souvenir. But yeah, I love Christmas. Favorite Christmas song, Derek?
Malakaliki Maka.
Okay. Clark Griswold over here. Favorite Christmas movie?
Year Without a Santa Claus.
That's so Derek. That's
no, it's Christmas Vacation, but Year Without a Santa Claus, Heat Miser, Snow Miser, those guys.
No, that's such a Derek pick. I'm just like, I'm gonna be so aloof and so highfalutin. I'm gonna pick this deep cut. Like the cinematography of this film is just to die for.
It's like a Rankin and Bass. Like it's just like a little claymation movie.
Dude, no. It's Christmas Vacation without a question. And then I'd say
Christmas Vacation best.
Number 1, Santa Claus number 2. Number 3. It's a tough list. I'm not going to put number 3 out there yet. You have to wait for December.
We can lock all this in a month or so. We don't have to give our Christmas locks right now.
I will say, Coach Curtis, this might be a tea on me. A Christmas Story is so overrated. It's the worst movie I've ever seen.
You're wrong.
It's so bad. They've tricked you into like thinking this is a good movie because they play it for 24 hours.
Great movie, Curtis. I'm with you. You'll shoot your eye out.
Christmas Vacation should have a 24-hour loop. I love Christmas Vacation so much, but Jingle Bell Rocks is a strange favorite Christmas song. We're rambling at this point. Mine is Blue Christmas by Elvis. Blue Christmas. Don't roll your eyes at me. Blue Christmas by Elvis.
I could have guessed that so easily.
Last Christmas by Wham. That's a great one. Wonderful Christmas Time, Sir Paul, I believe it was that sung that. One of the Beatles sung it, Sir Paul, I think. So yeah, that's my list. Anyway, thanks for listening to this Christmas Lockdown Christmas. Until next time, folks, where we're going to be back on Thursday at 2 p.m. Central live on YouTube and also every single day. And also our show with Jeremy Lamb on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3:30 Central. Until all that stuff happens, be good and be good to one another.